Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to episode number 14 of our Let's Play series of Burden of Command, a brand new turn-based war game that takes place during World War II, leading a company of soldiers in sort of a leadership simulation or RPG as well. Now, I don't need to go over everything that this is because we've been doing this for 14 episodes now, so I think you all probably at this point know roughly where things stand. We'll jump back in. Now, we are picking things up in the middle of the battle for Sicily, or at least the landings in Sicily. We got off the beaches okay. We are pushing inland. The Italians have some decent defenses, but they don't seem to be too aggressive in their defense, and I think we're having some reasonable success. So far, the biggest casualties we've suffered have been stepping on landmines as we attempted to scale the cliffs off the beach, and that's where we find ourselves now. But yeah, that's where we're going to pick things up, and we'll see how things play out. Oh, one last tidbit. If you are interested in this game, it did come out on Steam just the other day, so you can find a link in the description to the Steam page where you can pick the game up and support the developers if you so choose. One of the things I find a little bit frustrating with this game is how unit activation works and uses a command point up. Because while I understand prioritizing your unit and needing to, it's hard to keep a unit together, it does feel like it leads to, we're just going to use this one squad to do all of our melee combat because that's who my officer is with currently. And I don't think that's a terribly accurate representation. But in any event, let's go ahead and use our captain's point to activate this other squad. Move them up into the trenches here. And then we can use another captain's point here to activate this squad. And I guess we'll move them up over here. Hopefully they're a little less exposed on the lower portion of this ridge. And we're almost to the right flank objective. What is this anyway? Is this an MG? Oh, it's an anti-tank gun. Okay. Alright, so overran the units on the right flank near the exit point and are driving toward the Italian objective down here. Also moved up onto this ridge. But I think that's it for, because we can't press. So I think that's it for Dearborn's unit. All right. Enemy officer moved and our troops spotted and wounded him. Good job, boys. Alright, so let's see. Making good progress on the right flank now. Also in the center. Wilson used up one of his points there. I'd like to avoid moving through the village directly. I think moving in this sort of orchard and trenches here on the right of the village toward the objective would be ideal. Also, we can try and push up this way. I don't know that I can. We're underneath the ridge, so hopefully there's no reaction fire here, and this is just moving into range of the mortar, maybe? Maybe we can move up here and assault them?
Let's get those bastards.
Okay. Assaulted that enemy mortar. They also lose sight on us, so hopefully that helps in terms of what they can shoot their artillery at. Use another one of my captain's movement points here to activate this other squad. Oh, enemy artillery coming in on us. 75 millimeters. Oh, they hit us directly. In the open. Heavy suppression. But they didn't kill us. Okay. They're going to need to be rallied, though. Okay. That does it for Wilson's platoon. So Wilson's platoon's pretty much tidied up this ridge line here in the center. Dearborn's cleared the right flank, at least to the trenches. And then Thompson, our new lieutenant, is trying to get his boys further off the beach toward the objective north of the town. Let's go ahead and end that turn. Oh, what was that? Heavy suppression there. I thought that was a... Oh yeah, the anti-tank gun. Okay, well. A lot of suppression damage we're taking here so far, but not a ton of actual combat damage. Alright, let's... Can you rally these boys, or maybe bolster them? I'd rather rally, but bolstering might give them a better chance to move further. Alright, so move forward to this sort of pillbox, or whatever the hell that is. Okay. And then my captain still has some points, so let's activate this MG. Move them toward the ridge line so they can stay up with Wilson's boys. Then we've got the third squad with my own personal captain here involved. I'm going to move my own character back this way, but let's go ahead and bolster this guy. We'll leave Thompson in charge of his own unit, I think. I'd like to rally him, but... You can get all the way up to the objective? Just third squad, not butcher. This is a bit of a risk. This is a long run in mostly open terrain. But we managed to take the second objective. We'll get our boys back out of there and then under cover. Hey, Frank! You turn to see Patterson point off to the side. Are those our guys? Hey, yeah, Morris answers as he turns to follow Patterson's finger. It doesn't take you long to see what they're seeing. A handful of figures in olive drab well behind the rest of the squad. Every moment they prove to be a little further back. When the squad pauses, the same men halt and take a little longer to get going than everybody else. Why, those yellow malingerers, Grant growls in a throat-slitting fury. Captain, permission to run those bastards down and beat some goddamn sense into them? Let the stragglers go, reduce strength ratio in the next scenario? Fucking deserters. Alright, but no rough stuff. Squad will suffer morale penalty and some reduced strength in the next scenario. Large morale penalty, but no reduced strength in the next scenario. Yes, do whatever it takes. Grant stalks off with a pair of bald fists. Drill Sergeant Grimace. Watch him as he chases down the laggards just like a jaguar stalking prey. Okay. Alright, so we took this objective on the left. Moved out of the town. Still got to get up here toward this other objective, but trying to stay away from the artillery fire. More Italian squads up here. I think that's everybody. Several well-positioned enemy squads in these fields on that highway. But we'll hold you in place. I don't want you to hold fire. No, just chill. But we'll end the turn. Naval rounds continue to fall north of the town. Shift the fire to the final objective? Yeah, I'd say that. Maybe they'll shift north. They're pounding whatever's around here. There could be bad guys there, but I haven't spotted any. Okay. Are those enemy 75s that are shooting now? Well, it still says naval bombardment. Okay. Okay, we'll let the naval fire hopefully shift that direction while we push on the center here where there are all these enemy troops. Although an MG behind some cover, 2 MG, is this second MG? 8 millimeter mortar. Or wait, no, that's an MG. They're both MGs. So 2 MGs, an infantry section, 2 infantry sections, and 2 MGs that we've seen so far. All right, so let's do this. Bolster this squad. Get them moving up onto this ridge.
Don't get frisky.
Why can they not move up onto that ridge? Okay. Enemy artillery fire coming down just north of them. I think this is the 75. Behind them where they were. But didn't actually hit the hex they were in. Naval bombardment heading north of the town. Okay, 75 still coming in. Alright, get up on that ridge. It isn't a react fire section, but at least they don't get shot at. Second squad's going to go where the captain is, or the lieutenant is here. He can maybe rally them next turn. They may need it. I don't want to get these guys in this trench too far forward, all on their own. Let's get our captain over here. He can... First Sergeant Grant taps you on the shoulder and points. You turn to see 2 of your men on your way over. Between them they carry a gangly weapon, an Italian machine gun. Sure. Refurbish this one for battalion when there is time. Have our armor refurbish this one for battalion. Yeah, I'll do the one that gives me loyalty and prestige. Alright. Rally that squad. Press them.
They won't expect this.
Just second squad. Get them up there to join Wilson. Enemy machine gun's gonna shoot at him. Oh shit. The anti-tank gun. Undaunted though. So they take some suppression, but they live through it. I should have moved my character with him, because I need to be up there so I can direct my own artillery fire on the enemy here. So let's use our guns. Let's use our 60mm mortars. Let's drop it on the anti-tank gun here. Nice. You can't really see it because it's off on the corner, but the mortar knocked out the enemy ATG. So, destroyed that enemy unit. First time I've seen artillery actually destroy a unit. That's good news. Is it Stern's turn? No. Who's moving right now? Are we still on Thompson? He's got a nice overwatch position there on that left flank company on some of those enemy infantry, but we're setting up for the final assault across this open area toward where the enemy positions are. Okay. Get this 1 MG unit up into the trench. They may take some fire doing it. They don't. All right. Move them forward too. Mortar's already attacked, so can't move them again this turn. But I can move Stern by himself. Okay. So we'll end Stern's round. Man, I'm really pleased with that mortar strike on that anti-tank position. Might clear out the right flank of their position, too. Right, first squad. Push forward into this house. That's a command post. Okay, we took the objective. Move these boys up under cover. Get them out of the objective and out of the open and into the trench. No reason to hang out there on the road. Alright, I guess we'll move that way. I didn't want to go through the open, but it was the only way to get them more than one hex forward. So Dearborn's boys take the objective on the right flank. We're now into draw territory for our objective. And we are setting our boys up. We've got almost the entire company up along this ridge line here in the center of the map. We've still got Wilson's squad for this, or platoon for this turn. I don't think I can rally Wilson. Well, these boys have already moved, so they can't rally. So second, this squad can shoot these guys, but they're already suppressed. So let's just hold them in place for now. Wilson will go ahead and rally his squad here. And actually, it only takes one movement point to rally, so cool for that. Whatever. Maybe we'll do some damage.
Suppressing fire!
Okay. Alright, we'll move this squad out of the pillbox into the trench line to the flank. That'll open up room for the MG unit to move into the actual pillbox area. That'll do it for turn 6. The Navy rounds at last begin to land amid the vital road intersection. Okay. Let them keep pounding the final objective. Nice, right on the pillbox section, or whatever that circular area is. Presumably there's some bad guys there. Also on the house next to the intersection. Good shooting, boys. I doubt the actual crossroads has anything there. Yeah, move the MGs up into this pillbox. And then, do the mortars need to move, or can they hit what they want to hit from where they are? Looks like they can mostly hit what we want them to hit. So we'll drop them on this MG here. I always want to target enemy MGs. That's always the primary objective here. And they also inflicted casualties on them too. Infantry squads are a problem, but when I'm assaulting a position, hitting those fixed units first is really important. Okay, so did that. Move Stern up to be closer to his boys. I'm assuming the mortars themselves have a radio with them, and that's why I can direct fire or whatever. Okay. 75mm, I'm assuming Canadian, or not Canadian, Italian artillery shooting, but they're behind us. I don't think they've got a good line of sight on our position. So there's these 3 squads, which are already suppressed in our MG's range. We've also got this squad, which is not suppressed, which we can hit, and I think we're outside their range, too. So our MG, hopefully, they can shoot twice. Maybe they can suppress these guys. No, they were undaunted from that second attack, so slightly suppressed, but not fully yet. Okay. I'd love to be able to direct enemy artillery fire myself. Can I press the MG over here? I can't, but I could press this guy, so we can get another movement point for this MG. I already shot twice this turn, but I can use one of my captain's points to press him to give him another chance at fully suppressing that unit.
Fire!
We detected there's an enemy officer there. And they're now fully suppressed. So there could be enemy troops we don't know about yet, but at least for the moment, Stern's heavy weapons section can rest. Now they're going to rally those enemy infantry up there for their round. But they're still suppressed. So what we can see anyway is a lot of suppressed Italian units. Let's move these guys here into this trench. They'll have good cover. Okay. Did I say Dearborn? It is Dearborn, okay. Alright, can these guys move up into this command post?
Hit the dirt!
And the artillery dropped right in front of them where they were heading. Right to the right. But then they moved into the hex where the artillery dropped after it already dropped, so good result for them there. Alright, so Dearborn's going to try and flank around the right side of the map. Okay. Alright, so there's an enemy infantry squad up this way, too. Alright, you move right and forward, stay in the trench and in the cover. There's not as much cover here as there are in the trenches. But I think it's still worthwhile. The enemy with as suppressed as they are, I think it's worthwhile taking the risk. Likelihood of them shooting back at you is greatly reduced, even if you're moving through open terrain. Still can happen. A runner, not one of yours, comes racing over. Captain, item company sent me. We gotta have your mortars. Item company must handle this. Why? There's a load of Italians, at least 100, heading for the hills, the runner manages to say between gulps of air. Self-demobilization? First Sergeant Grant remarks. Didn't the brass figure that might happen? Sometimes about how a lot of Italian soldiers are tired and have kin around? Do you still have your mortars? The runner from item company asks. If you do, I've got coordinates. We can give them all clumped up. What about them? The Italians are heading through a gap in the hills, the runner says. Our guys figure it'll be a turkey shoot. Are they still armed? Probably. Almost certainly. We gotta nail them now. Why a mortar barrage? Our radios got dunked. We can't get a hold of anyone. Time's ticking. A few rounds tossed into the gap would probably scatter them. What do you think, Grant? Tough call, Captain, First Sergeant says. Mortars might get a few more Italians dead or get them to surrender, but maybe we're just wasting ammo and time. Contact Stern via the radio. Stern may undergo a crucible before deciding upon a course of action. Coordinate the mortar fire myself. I didn't know that there's favor with your other companies. Okay, sure. I'll do it myself. I was wondering if they were trying to surrender and if we were, you know, killing a bunch of surrendering troops. Highway of Death style, but anyway, I think I already used my mortars that turn, so I don't really care. Didn't hurt him that turn. Alright, I think Wilson's squad needs to go next. So I don't have anyone to shoot at who needs to be suppressed. Well, actually, these guys back here. Is this a mortar? Or? Nope, that's an MG. Can anybody see them and shoot them? Well, first things first, we got to end Dearborn's turn. Because I'd like to charge this infantry right in front of us, but this one squad back here is giving me the hibbity-jibbities. I've got a good chance of success. I don't know if the enemy can shoot through their own line or if they'll even shoot me.
Sir.
Does make me nervous. The initial attempt failed. Second attempt succeeds. We make reaction fire these guys, but at least we overran one of their squads in this sort of cover right in front of the town. Good chance for initiative here as they attempt to shoot at these MGs. No stress. Oh, we did take a casualty, damn. But we at least partially suppressed the enemy there. Okay. Move Wilson over here. Why can Wilson not move? We can't move adjacent? Oh, because my captain's already there. Okay. Let's try and move them. They're going to move through potentially enemy fire, but I'm trying to get them into cover. I managed to do that. Just shoot at these guys. My captain will bolster him next turn. I used all my points this turn, though. Oh, those guys aren't fully suppressed. Okay, good to know. Good thing we shot at them. In that case, I guess we get Wilson up to join his own men. Hopefully they don't get shot at. He's moving through open terrain under enemy eyes. But he gets there. Okay, so we got one objective over here on the left flank. And we've got 3 more on the highway. We're definitely grouped up to assault the highway. Okay. Move forward into that house, potentially. Nope, they don't want to move. Alright, well, how about you just rally your boys then? Squad up here on the left flank's full morale-wise. Squad in the center now is. Right flank a little bit less so, but getting bogged down a bit there with my new LT. Nothing I can do about it. Time to move to the next turn. The Navy continues to pummel the final objective. Let them keep doing it. I don't have anything out that way. Hit whatever might be out that way. I got no issue with that. Okay. All right. Naval bombardment's still underway. I think Stearns will be the first guy to shoot. They still shooting over there? Turning it all into dust? I can't see anything, so. Alright, so. Shoot at this officer with your MG. Try to suppress him. Okay. They're in cover, so you're not as effective as you'd maybe want to be. Can my officer call in artillery fire for us, please? Alright, drop it on the MGs. Failed. Oh shit. That sucks. More artillery? Yep. Okay, Stern has used all his points up. Okay, so now it's time to start rolling up the enemy line. Dearborn. Alright, I'm going to use... Probably will only attack with two units this turn. With Dearborn on the flank, I'm thinking. Right, move forward to the lead unit. Alright, someone just shot at me. I think that's the partially suppressed MG. And they followed me into the next hex too, the bastards. Right, can these guys charge across that way? No. Alright, can I bolster them and then just command them with my captain's points? Yeah, try and go up behind him and get toward this MG here.
Incoming!
Oh, artillery landing in front of you. Behind you, but not actually on you. Nice, so they went up and around the enemy. And then got him. Can't actually get him there. So let's do this with our captain. What am I gonna have to do? Move 3 times to get there? What if I bolster myself? Do I get better movement?
You heard the captain.
Yes.
Get going.
Alright, so move behind. Oh, fucking A.
Move out.
God damn it, I didn't mean to move Wilson's squad. I probably could have gotten there by myself. I should have realized when the movement was limited the way it was that was probably what was going on.
Come on.
Ah, I don't have any more movement points. I can't move them. Okay. Can I move back and assault them? No. Whatever, you can shoot from behind. Maybe it'll hurt their morale a bit. Stress them or something. Alright. Sometimes the game has a little bit of jank in its orders. So Wilson can probably go there if we want him to. Do we want him to secure that flank, though, or do we want him to maybe try and get the MGs over here?
Give 'em hell.
Nice, they knocked out the lieutenant, so that should hurt their morale a bit. I should have bolstered before we opened fire, but in any event, let's move these guys forward here to this trench just in front of the highway. So we could assault the enemy position directly. Or, and I think this is the more prudent approach, we can move Wilson's squads up here to get within striking distance. Let's move them off to the left a little bit. They can move into this brush. Maybe some cover there for the next turn. So Wilson's squad is spreading out a bit. Dearborn can focus on eliminating this isolated Italian unit, and then also the guys in the bunker up here. Wilson can focus on taking these objectives next turn. And then maybe Thompson can move toward the primary objective, the roadway here.
I need you to trust me.
I don't know what's up this way, but get his squads moving in that direction. Maybe tell the artillery to stop shooting. They've pretty much plastered that whole area. Okay.
Boy, this chicken shit.
What can you see? Not much. Might as well shoot at these guys. Nice. Inflicted some casualties on them. Third squad's going to move up into the corner of this orchard, but probably not any closer to the enemy position, just in case our own artillery starts hitting us. I don't think I want to try and charge them up there all by themselves without an officer to help. So we'll end that turn. We'll order the naval gunfire to stop shooting. Actually, we might be able to... Let's try and go with them now. My officer can lead the assault with this one squad that still had movement points in the captain's phase and knock him out just like that. Good job, boys. Moving forward one more hex. We'll end the turn. Navy continues to pummel the final objective. Ask them to cease fire. Are they still shooting? They are still shooting. So, not going to cease fire quite yet. They haven't really hit this pillbox all that heavy. I think they got one shot on it. I'm assuming there's a heavy fixed piece there or something. But I would think most of the other troops around there are probably, at the very least, very heavily suppressed due to the damage they're taking. For now, let's have this squad move forward here to join Dearborn on the flank. Dearborn can bolster them. And charge. The guys on the left are all still suppressed, so something shot at them, but they're undaunted by whatever it was. They took some suppression and some stress. Oh, it's probably the enemy's 75 millimeter. Naval gunfire still hitting that crossroads.
At them with the bayonet.
I hope whatever's going on that flank went well. Failed. Shit. Well, at least it doesn't look like they took too many casualties by the looks of it. The assault failed. Which is also going to prevent me from being able to move up there easily. Third platoon isn't moving after that assault on the Italian position. The veterans have gone to ground. Think something happened to Dearborn, First Sergeant Grant asks. He notices your consternation. We're getting good radio reception right now. Trust him. I'll trust him. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my own
Captain needs everyone now.
commander up that way anyway. So I'll bolster both of Dearborn's squads. And then take one of them myself to assault while the Navy continues to pound the left flank. For some reason, they just don't want me to see what's going on. Unless there's like a scripted reason Dearborn's assault leads to him dying or something. Can you assault that position directly?
Let's send them packing.
Yep. Got him. And then I've still got one movement point left for him. If we want to use it. Which maybe I won't right now. Now that I've charged all the way around here, I can go ahead and use them for mortar fire too, but I don't have anything to see. I suppose we'll just pound the MG if we can. Alright, that's Dearborn's round. I'm trusting that Dearborn's fine, although the failed assault, I don't know. We'll see. Meanwhile, Wilson's turn. His squads are... One of them's way back here.
Cottonbalers, don't let me down.
Alright, go assault that enemy MG.
Grab your boondockers and let's go.
Take them out and maybe roll their lineup and take the infantry also. Failed.
It's our turn. Let's
Is it because
go.
I didn't bolster? Oh, I didn't need to bolster. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think I did. A third group of Italians wander back toward the beach from the direction of the second platoon. They amble on a white flag at the fore, but unlike the others, the only one has a single guard. Wilson's taking an awful risk. Okay. Nope. I will trust my officers. If they send folks, I'm not going to micromanage them. Okay. Wilson had one more movement point. Went ahead and activated that squad. All right. Fifth objective is seized. And I think now we can just start pivoting our troops toward the last objective over here. The main thing is just hoping that the artillery fire wraps up here soon. I don't see any indication of Italians in our rear to worry about. We did have the one AT gun over here that we never attacked, and we didn't directly move into this village. But hoping that doesn't matter. Okay, and then it's really just Thompson. You gonna get your squad going or not? Or your, I say squad, but what I mean is a platoon. All right, we'll move these guys into a hex. I think these hexes are still far enough outside of range of the artillery. They haven't been hit yet in any event. I don't know what the max range is on those guns, but can we move up north of the road and see what we can see? There's an enemy here. It's an MG. Go ahead and shoot at him. They might have already been suppressed, but they certainly are now. Okay, really need those naval guns to stop shooting. Yes, the Navy keeps firing. Well, I told them not to, so it would be great if they stopped. I don't want to move my men into a zone that is under constant artillery bombardment. Okay, there's one more hex over here to take too. Can you rally yourself, Dearborn? I don't know what all happened over here, but
Are you prepared?
Captain's calling for cover. Enemy 75mm looked like it shot. My own artillery continues to pound that town. I don't want to wait too long to take the final objective, but we'll wait one more turn, I think, before we launch the assault. I'd like to get the other squads in reach anyway. Okay, 75 shooting at something.
You heard the captain. Get going.
All right, I'm going to move my squad up this way. The roadway is probably not the safest place to be moving. If there's any enemy MGs that aren't suppressed, that could reaction fire against us in the open on the street, but I'm gambling that they won't be. I also did press one of those squads here of Dearborn so they can move north. Using my other captain point here to move another one of Dearborn's squads. Alright, use my last point here to press one more squad. Get him moving up there. Again, hopefully there's no one in these houses. If there is anybody north of the town, we might be screwed, but does not appear to be so far. Enemy rallied its MG. 2 units rallied by the looks of it, so we'll have to work on keeping their heads down. My boys don't have a ton of cover there. Okay, we did some suppression damage. They shot back at me once. Just looks like the once, though. Thompson, get up to your boys. They're suffering morale. Alright, I'm starting to move into the fringe of arty range, which I don't love. Okay. Does my captain have any movement points left? He's got 1. Alright. Get up there then. So we suppressed the MG after it rallied. Oh, he shot back at me. 3 suppression, so there's got to be some enemy infantry in there too. Not going to try and waste points to bring that 1 squad up from Wilson's. Wilson will go in with 2.
Boot polish is the only cure.
All right, let's move him. I'm going to move that squad up and around the town to use these buildings north of the town, hopefully, as cover. Okay. Then Stern still has movement points. I haven't touched most of his MGs. They're still way back there. Where are the mortars? Are they still on this ridge? Okay. Maybe guns at last fall silent. Awesome. Alright, that's exactly what we needed. Hey Thompson, how about you rally your boys? Get them back into fighting shape.
Back in.
Okay. Can they crawl too? No. Just the 1. Alright, at least see if you can see what's in this building over here. There's something over here, I just can't see it. Okay. Alright, well, let's just try an assault. Might fail, they might uncover something. They might get shot, exposed. Right in the flank. How many casualties? 1. Do they give up the assault? No, they keep going. So they get the enemy MG. They take 1 casualty in the event moving across the open. And knock out the enemy MG. They'll move and take the last objective. And there you go. We got a lull in the fighting for now. We got what battalion asked for, Captain. First Sergeant Grant says, as the latest batch of runners tender their reports, at least so far. We could keep pushing, but follow-up waves will just take over. Scenarios of the major victory. So what happens if I mop up the Italians? Is there only 1? I think there's only 1 more unit. That's not what I want. Alright, you go ahead and... Oh, I didn't have the initiative. I shouldn't have done that. Took an extra casualty unnecessarily. Damn it. We'll blame the lieutenant. He sucks. It's his fault, not mine. Alright, end that turn. I don't think there's any more bad guys except for this 1 unit. I mean, it could be wrong. Actually, there is the anti-tank gun in the way back.
Hell, you think this is bad?
Press him.
Come on, pick it up.
There you go. That attack should have good odds. Heavy smoke. No, those are good odds. We'll do that. I'm really annoyed I even took one casualty. Overstacks. What does that mean? I mean, I know what overstack theoretically means, but... why can't I move there is my question. Do they have to move through this hex, and that's why? Okay. That ends Wilson. All right, bolster him.
Ready?
My commander will run up the highway there to get in reach. Dearborn, you're back in action, right? So you move your squads back toward the beach, because there is that one enemy anti-tank on there. I don't want to spend too long mopping up, but... I think that's what we'll do. Alright, Dearborn, you can link back up with those boys. And that'll be it for him. Try and move some of our heavy weapons back toward the town. We plastered that area with artillery. It doesn't mean there's no enemy troops in the town, though. Okay. Radio crackles, Sparks points toward the receiver and says, "Battalion Captain." They say, "Objective secured. Well done. Occupy and hold." Okay.
I've seen worse than this.
Wait, there's a bad guy here?
Harris, with me.
I'm confused. Who's here? In the middle, in the open?
Keep up your fire.
I don't know what that is. Is it just an officer, maybe? Take him prisoner? Acting captain for the enemy? I don't really want to take more casualties. The goal here is really to just get more experience and potentially, you know, whatever the reward is for getting more damage.
Obvious now, is it?
We know there was an enemy unit out that way, but... it was just an anti-tank gun, which will be coming, in theory, behind. But I don't know what's in the town, if anything. Okay, can you move here? Taking some risks. Get Stearns out that way. Maybe he can act as an observer or something. It is looking increasingly like it's... And I don't want to run my character out there all by himself, but it's looking increasingly like the only thing left is that enemy anti-tank gun. Assuming it's even still there. Oh! I hope Stearns is okay. Apparently it was able to turn around and shoot back at me. Heavily suppressed, but still alive. We'll move the officer up here. Maybe he can get a line of sight on him and drop our mortars on him. No, from there he can't. Maybe from this house. I assume the enemy anti-tank gun can't shoot too many times.
Let's get it done.
Nice. Oh, did we destroy it? Was that it? Was the mortar destroys anti-tank guns and artillery pieces, maybe? What am I even still fighting for? Are there even enemy troops left? Maybe in this machine gun nest? It's an enemy officer here? Okay. He's in the water. What am I supposed to do with that? This seems silly. The game, I know the game wants to let you, like, keep fighting if you want to, but it should also just be like, alright, there's nothing left to do. Okay. See if we can... Maybe if we destroy that enemy captain, it'll end. If it doesn't, it'll be over soon anyway. Alright, go ahead and bolster them.
Come on. Come on. Get it done.
Okay. Acting captain surrenders. Hopefully that's all that's left. I don't know what they have left. Game should just end. Just gonna click through and end it. Okay, there you go. Major victory for both the men and the officers. Huzzah! All right.
There again, we hit the beaches in dark. I mean, it was always, it seemed like at nighttime when you'd go in there, and you didn't confusion. You can't believe on an invasion how much confusion you could run into on account if everybody doesn't know where they're going to go, or somebody, maybe you'd run into a firefight or something like that, and some of those guys get pinned down, and you're supposed to be going over here to do this, and it's something else. So once you get in and get situated where you know where each outfit is or what you got, so you know when to advance forward, why this is all right. So
Black smoke from the smoldering town drifts over the ravaged Sicilian landscape. Major victory. First platoon marches forward. Private Roberts pauses to scoop up a little stone. If you need rocks, Private Morris says idly, I think I saw a few on the beach. Oh, I already got one of those, Roberts replied. Just wanted one from the inland. Guess you get your pick of 'em, Private Patterson put in. Everybody's too tired to laugh, but not to grin. Better look sharp, Captain, Grant says, then pointed at a pair of men in olive drab who pushed toward you. Look like we've got company, and no small fry either. Sure enough, as the figures draw closer, you recognize the now familiar face of Colonel Hentiggs, accompanied by only his aide. Captain, well done, the colonel says as he draws near. The road is secure, and no one took a shot at me for the last little while. Roberts also says the Italians had an anti-tank gun nearby. That true? Thunder of guns erupts. The shells scream overhead, falling inland. A dozen more landing craft are headed for the beach. With the follow-on waves, artillery, trucks, and tanks. Okay. Right, Colonel Hentig says. Our anti-tank platoon is coming in. They'll be deploying on our flank against the inevitable Italian or even German counterattack. But that won't be a problem because the highway's clear. Hold here until relieved. Understood? Yes, sir. Colonel gives you and Grant a nod, then strides back toward the beach. His aide follows silently in his wake. First Sergeant Grant turns to you, eyes bright with praise. Nice to be appreciated, Captain, he says. Guess we better see the rest of it. Be hard to argue with that. The shooting dies down, and now's the time to talk with Wilson about the lack of guards on those surrendering Italians. I know that look, Lieutenant Wilson says. What is it, Cap? It's about the prisoner count, Wilson asks. Is it about the prisoner count, Wilson asks? How many did we bag? Gotta be a record. I was worried, Wilson admits. For some, there's always a reason to go to the rear and even more to stay there. And as an officer, I can't beat the hell out of them when they malinger. He's right about that, but he's apparently forgotten that his sergeant's under his command. You rectify that oversight quickly. Okay. The anti-tank guns show up a little while later, none the worse for wear. One by one, the crews dismount from their trucks and methodically set up their guns along the sides of the road. They aren't the only new arrivals either. A gaggle of figures come to the highway. Not Americans, but Italians fleeing from the 1st Division's landing at Gela, and the rest of the 3rd Division's advance at Lacadia. Okay. What starts as a trickle quickly turns into a flood. Before long, you're sending them to the rear in droves. You catch sight of 2 men from 3rd Platoon, Harris and Marino, escorting an Italian major. The major doesn't seem to like trouble, and there are 2 armed soldiers with him. Besides, you return your attention to the other matters. At your orders, Harris diverts toward you. Behind him, Marino says something in Italian to the major beside him. The prisoner's eyes narrow, as if you were interrupting his morning walk. If it's about the pistol, Lieutenant Dearborn assures him, he could keep it, Harris says as he draws near, to promote civility between our nations. Well, Lieutenant, no souvenirs. Send Harris to get Dearborn over here now. Let them go. Single pistol doesn't matter. He's a major anyway. He probably isn't going to just start going guns blazing. Lieutenant Thompson stares intently at the despondent procession of men in green as if they were searched for booby traps. Good God, he blurts out. That's 214 prisoners in the past 15 minutes. Okay. We haven't faced real soldiers yet. We just gotta keep hitting them hard. Sure hope so, Captain. I just hope it doesn't take too many more whacks before they get the message. Are you sure it's such a good idea to encourage him like that, Captain? Grant asks. He keeps going like this, and he'll be in for a hell of a shock when things get tough. He's got to learn on his own first, Sergeant. Then let him learn, Grant insists. Don't sugarcoat this stuff for him. You keep letting him think this war is going to be some kind of goddamn comic book and the reality might get him killed. I don't want that, Captain, and I don't think you do either. Okay. Well, that's it. We win the first battle in Italy. Good for us. We did take some casualties. I feel like mines killed more of our men than anything else. We have 8 replacements. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like we have exactly 8 casualties. Good chunk of loyalty and prestige to replace them with. Experienced costs prestige, which we have some to spare. So, where we've got 5-star units, I definitely want to use prestige to replace my losses. Although that's going to eat through all my prestige. These guys we can use XP because they won't lose a star if we do that. These guys also aren't in the gap between stars. So we'll do green replacements on those 3 units, and then we did quality replacements on the other. That leaves me with 7 prestige and 19 loyalty. Okay. Do you have any like combat fatigue or anything we need to pay to get away? That's trust. I can use what? Loyalty for trust? Is that just for the officers? Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, I've got enough to do 3 experience stars. So, first squad, first platoon, still maxed at 5. Third squad, first platoon, also maxed at 5. Second squad, first platoon's at 3. They'll get an extra order at 4, I believe it is. I could get them to 4. See if anybody's between stars. The heavy weapons are the one where it's like they could use some more experience. But we'll get these guys to a 4th star here. Okay. Work on getting the heavy weapons to the next level up. Meanwhile, I have some loyalty left too. Which I believe I can only use on officers. Yeah. And I spent everything I could use. Alright, cool. So, Sicily beachhead success. Our units are rapidly getting more experience. We now have 1, 2, 3 units maxed out at 5. 1, 2, 3 units at 4. And then the rest are still fairly green, but that's what, 2 or 1 2-star and then 4 1-stars. And the 1-stars are mostly the support units. My officers probably should have more experience by this point, but they don't take casualties, so. And my own personal character is at 500 trust and 500 experience. Combat fatigue is starting to build in a few of these units, but that'll do it for today. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series. Hope you guys are enjoying Burden of Command. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out. Bye-bye.